Embiid left the game tonight with an injury. Number one, prayers up. Which leads us to our next conversation, which is Joel playing tonight felt very much so because of the 65 game limit that we actually talked about once before on the pod. I don't remember what I said verbatim, but I remember the gist of what I said, which was something along the lines of everybody's happy with this 65 game rule until you got a bum on NBA, all NBA team, until you got somebody that's not totally deserving to be the MVP of the league because someone else didn't qualify before the game because of this game limit.
It's just so hyperbolic, bro. It's already been in place. Bro, especially with the MVP. And even the one time where somebody played a significant fewer amount of games than Bill Walton, people question that. Should Bill Walton have won the MVP? So this idea like, it's all fun and games until such and such slips up. And I guess that means you niggas gotta play. I guess that's what that means. I guess NBA players have to play NBA games. Your own coach, Draymond, Steve Kerr, has set out you all over the past handful of years, even when y'all were healthy. I bet you didn't say anything about that. I guess you were fine with that. Be mindful that the Supermax contract situation, that is effectively like a raise, a bonus. Like you're already going to receive a max contract. We're not sitting here saying you can't receive a max contract. We're saying that you can't receive even more money. It's an incentive behind it. There is not, and I mean this wholeheartedly, I don't know of very few jobs where you believe that you should still receive the incentive. You should still receive a bonus. You should still receive a raise, that you can make a quality argument that you should receive even more money than you already are receiving while not being available to go to work. I don't know if that many occupations where that is applicable to.
What I think is actually quite bullshit myself is to incorporate something at this point, a rule like 65 games need to be played in order to win an MVP or Defensive Player of the Year, All NBA. Guys didn't face those rules before, but those same NBA, All NBA teams, those same MVP awards lists, Defensive Player of the Year, those lists are the same. When the guys who win those awards this year pop up on the list that they'll be added to, or once again, it won't say, and by the way, they reached the 65 game limit to make that. Like, it's bullshit. Like, that hasn't been a rule. So essentially to make guys.
But it has been. Man, y'all want clarification in what it means to be MVP, what it means to be DPOY, what it means to win these awards. And it has been unwritten rule that the best ability is availability. They've now etched it in stone. So now you know. And you're complaining about it. What Draymond is saying is effectively correct. Yeah, back in the day, they didn't have to deal with these rules. We have to deal with it now. We're not going to have an asterisk next to our name and da-da-da. Like we had to do something that those other players didn't have to do. Hey, you're right. But Draymond, they've also changed other rules to benefit you as well. Once again, there's not an asterisk next to Patrick Ewing's name in 1994 when he didn't make All-NBA because he couldn't beat out Shaq, Hakeem, and David Robinson. There's no asterisk next to his name that he really was an All-NBA caliber player. He just didn't make it because the rule we had set in place now. They now have removed that rule and they've made it positionless. But that benefits you. Because instead of you being locked in to a position to make an All-NBA or All-Defensive team, you now have 15 slots. You now have an equal footing to 14 other players to make these teams. You like that, don't you? Because it benefits you.
Live up to a certain standard that wasn't the standard before to make these teams, but yet you only go on the same team. There's no added bonus, no added incentive for these things. So you end up on the same list as the guys who back in the day played and may not have played 65 games but still made the list. I told you, I once lost a Defensive Player of the Year award to Kawhi Leonard, and I think he played 51 games.
I've already fact-checked that. That is a lie. Kawhi Leonard he played like 64 games. He would have qualified for the exception because there's only one game. And trust me when I say, if he needed to play 65 games, Popovich would have rolled him out on the floor and played 20 minutes for one game so he can make the 65 game requirement. Trust me, they would have figured out a way to do it. When it comes to MVPs, there's only one player who didn't play 65 games. So everybody else would have fit the qualification of being a 65 game recipient or play 65 games within that year to make it. So you don't have to worry about that. Bill Walton is the only player that would have been in question. When it comes to DPOY, I want to say Rudy Gobert did it like once or twice. But outside of, and then obviously Kawhi, but then outside of those like one or two exceptions, everybody else has played 65 games. Matter Matter of fact, a few years ago, remember when Joel Embiid was a rookie? He was a pseudo-rookie, and then Malcolm Brogdon, he was an actual rookie, and Malcolm Brogdon numbers, they were atrocious. Matter of fact, let me go look this up real quick. In 2017, Malcolm Brogdon averaged 10 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists, 45% from the field, 40% from 3, 86% from the free throw line. Joel Embiid averaged 20 points, 8 rebounds, 2 assists, 2.5 blocks, and they didn't give it to him because he only played 31 games. So they made the decision. Matter of fact, he didn't even finish second. He finished third because they used games played as a requirement on who they want to give it to. Even if it meant that we're going to give it to somebody who averaged only 10 points and 4 assists. Draymond, they've been doing it for years now. This isn't anything new. But again, I want you to be very mindful. No talk of the fans, no talk of the viewership, no talk of how much money that us as regular people, and I'm gonna sit here and say I'm not a regular earner because I'm not, but just people in general have to spend on league pass, cable providers, tickets, all the paraphernalia that we have to buy to support you all so you can make as much money as you make.
It isn't going to say, but he played 65 games. That's bullshit. And so in turn, you get Joel, who comes out there tonight because he's 3 games away from not qualifying to win MVP, and he forces it. And Freak played with him and JK diving for the ball, but maybe it's not as bad if the knee isn't already banged up.
I love how he just like, he's like, Freak, hey, now Freak play. My nigga, he landed on his knee, nigga. What are you talking about? When you have a player who has a history before he even came into the NBA to have lower body injuries, someone landing on his knee can definitely keep him out for XYZ amount of games. You believing that if Joel Embiid wasn't forcing his way on the floor for the months leading up to that game, then maybe that freak accident wouldn't be as bad. Are you serious? My nigga, he landed on his knee, bro. He landed on his knee. And Joel Embiid being constantly hurt or not 100% throughout the stage of an NBA season that happened last year, the year before that, the year before that, the year before that, before he entered the NBA, it's been happening. That's just who he is as a player. So to sit here and to make it seem as if like, oh man, this is happening because of 65. No, that's just who Joel Embiid is. Very disingenuous to try to make it seem like it's something else.
Yeah, like Joel, if I get it. Like, yeah, you want to win MVP. You worked that hard, put the work in that he's put in to get better and continue to play at that level on a nightly basis. Of course you want to win MVP. So yeah, you force it, you get out there, and you put yourself in harm's way, and then...
Just like every other era before you. Just like every other era. Y'all are not different, special. This isn't new, my nigga. You think that Joel Embiid is the only player who played through significant injuries in hopes that he could win an MVP? You really believe that? Do you really believe those shenanigans? You think he's the only person to put his harm's way on a basketball court to try to achieve an accomplishment? Come on now. You don't really believe that, do you? So, you're now doing the things that the people before you did. Okay.
Joel Embiid is hurt now. Now, again, prayers up for Joel, as we hope it's not something too serious. But is that the goal? Is the goal putting people in harm's way just so they can qualify for an award? Because I don't think that was the goal.
No, the goal was for the people, the average earner, the average consumer who is spending monthly money to fund you millionaires for them to have an enjoyable experience. That is the goal. That's what the goal is. And the fact that you can't even function mentally to allow that to cross your airways is ridiculous. That was the goal. If you actually miss games after this rule was set in place, that sucks. That really sucks because that really means that you really are injured. And I think that actually means we need to have different conversations around those players, such as Joel Embiid. I think more people just need to accept the fact that Joel Embiid, a player again who came in the NBA dealing with injuries, is going to continue to deal with those injuries. And as you get older with those injuries, they tend not to get better. They tend to get worse. So we should I think that's how we need to talk about that. But Joel Embiid entered this game injured. He wasn't 100% healthy. Played all of these games. Again, he was not 100% healthy. If Joel Embiid finished this season only playing 50 games, the odds that the media would have given him the award, highly unlikely. Very highly unlikely. But no, the goal was for the fans. It's for the fans.
The speed of the NBA game today is totally different than it ever was before. All of a sudden, you're seeing a lot more hamstring injuries, calf injuries, soft tissue injuries, all these different things, knees. And you got guys forcing it to get back so they can qualify because guess what? These awards are very much so attached to the amount of money that you can make.
I can't. I can't keep watching this shit. It's like so crazy to me that I'm having to hear millionaires tell me, like, just blatantly tell me that I'm out here playing for, and again, I want to be clear. If that's the truth, and I'm happy that they're being honest, that's fine. And now that you're being honest, allow me to continue to be honest. As a fan who is funding you millionaires, yes, I want you to try to play basketball. I want you to try to do your job. If you can't, it's fine. Go sit down. Guess what? You'll still make millions of dollars. You'll still be okay. I know that may be a shocker, but you'll still be fine financially. But like the fact that we're talking about this and there's no or very little conversation about the fans, the viewership, the people that make you all multimillionaires, the way we got here is because of all the things that happened up to this point. The Players Association didn't fail Joel Embiid. The owners didn't fail Joel Embiid. Crazy enough, you failed Joel Embiid. His own peers failed Joel Embiid. Every time somebody sat out and really could have played, those players failed Joel Embiid. Those are the people who failed him. But to sit here and act as if like you don't know why this is set in place, my nigga, stop. Please stop. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, notification bell as well to get updated when I upload on this channel. And until next time, I'll see you all later. Peace.